because my good friend Mid-Major Matt, who joins the show every Friday, joining the show now, as he always does on a Friday, from the racetrack. Let's bring on Mid-Major Matt, talk some Major League Baseball. What's up, Matt?
How's it going?
You know, I just had to relive a little bit of a traumatic moment because per popular demand, that's what everybody likes around here. Aside for that, just waiting for my wine. How's the drive?
Listen, that's not a bad way to go. I'm sure it'll be a good one after the ordeal you've had today.
Yeah, Nissan was not my friend. We need to turn this day around ASAP. Did you ever, when you've been on sidelines, if you've been on sidelines, have you ever almost been hit by a player?
No, I have not. I'm very good at figuring that. Actually, you know what? One time covering Syracuse basketball at Notre Dame, I nearly had a player fall on me, but I got out of the way quickly.
You know who has been hit? Stormy Buonantony, and we'll talk about that when she comes on after Matt. She got hit, I think, actually worse than I did. For anyone that doesn't know, you'll find out soon. But let's talk some Major League Baseball. I know we've got props. We'll talk a little college football as well, since you like the smaller schools. But we'll get to some MLB. And we are on opposite sides for a little bit today. But Brian Bayo, over 16.5 outs, Red Sox, Yankees tonight. Why is he staying in this game?
He's just an outs machine. I mean, he is a guy that goes long. If you look at his recent numbers, he is a guy that goes 6 innings quite a bit. And I get it. The Yankees are capable of stringing together a lot of hits, and he doesn't last long. Look at Giolito last night. He didn't last very long. But because Giolito didn't last long last night, I think that they have to keep Bello in a little bit longer. A lot of arms. What was it, 5 different Red Sox arms last night? We're not asking him to go the full 6, which is key here, but he certainly can. So I'll take a shot that this is not vintage Yankees, and he's got decent numbers against them. So I'm going to take a shot on Bello to go over 16.5 outs.
It's definitely not vintage Yankees. That team last night was an absolute disgrace. Another game of multiple errors. We both agree on one thing today, just one. We always go through the whole card. We do the prop spreadsheet. We always talk about it. The one player we agree on, Ryan Bergert. Why are we going over 4.5 Ks?
It's because the Tigers strike out a lot lately. And if you look, Bergert is a guy that the last couple starts has flashed strikeout stuff. The Tigers are striking out a lot since the All-Star break. And I think Bergert is usually good for 5 and 2/3 innings. And this is a low enough number here that I kind of like it. I just think that he's got really good stuff. San Diego never let him go. He only would go like 4 innings for San Diego, and I like that Kansas City's letting him go a little longer. Now, the worry is he is the young guy. At some point, they might start pulling him to watch his innings, and that's something we certainly have to watch out handicapping-wise the rest of the season because we're now at that time. But I'm going to go that he's going long enough, and I think that the Tigers keep striking out, and so he goes over the 4.5.
We've got the Mets and the Braves going head-to-head in Atlanta. Nolan McLean pitching for the Mets. Not many people would know this name. He wasn't in the rotation to start the year. What do we know about Nolan McLean?
He looked really good the first start, and he strikes out a lot of guys. He struck out a lot of guys in the minors. And I think if people look at the spreadsheet, they'd say I'm crazy because the Braves have gone under this a lot, which they certainly have. But if you look at the key here is besides looking at the numbers, you have to look at the starting pitchers. So if you're going up against guys who aren't striking out a lot of batters and the Braves don't strike out a lot against them, then that makes sense. But McLean's a guy who's got strikeout stuff. The Braves lineup is not as good as it has been, and they have struck out a lot against the better pitchers in their lineup. Now, the one thing that worries me here is the weather. Pop-up storms down in Atlanta tonight. There's a chance it could get rain delayed. That's why I made this a smaller bet instead of a larger one, because if this was perfect weather, this would be one of my favorite bets of the day. But pop-up storm possibility down in Atlanta. But I think if this game goes through, he goes 5 innings, we can get 5 strikeouts from him.
We actually disagree on Jose Quintana today. So you like him to stay in the game over 17.5 outs. I don't trust Jose Quintana at all. He's pitched worse at home this year. He's getting the Giants. The Brewers are minus 166 at home. Why should I change my mind on Quintana?
Well, if you look at the lefties against this team, they've gone 6 innings. I don't have the number in front of me on my tweet, but I put it in my tweet this morning. It's something like 11 of the last 15 lefties have gone 6 innings or more against the Giants. They're the worst batting average in Major League Baseball against lefties. I hit Quintana's over in San Francisco. I think it was like 50.5 way back in April or May when this game came around. So I'm going to take a shot once again. Quintana is a guy that pitches the contact. Well, if it's not good contact, then the at-bats are short, and these guys go up and down. So I'm taking a shot on Quintana at home with a bet I already won in San Francisco against a Giants team that is terrible against lefties.
They are terrible against lefties. The Giants have the worst OPS and batting average in baseball this season against southpaws. It is a reason to stay away from this under, but I just hate Quintana. Everything about Quintana, but he's less of a fade at home, I guess, except he has struggled there this season. But Ryan Nelson, he does do better at home. He's home, -134 favorite against the Cincinnati Reds and Zach Littell, who we're going to get to it in the group chat. In the show chat, I'll ask about other questions. But for now, in this game, you like Ryan Nelson under 2.5 runs, -145, Matt.
He has not gone over this at home. And he used to be a guy we fade a lot because he wasn't very good. I mean, he's a guy that for the most part last year was just a guy we used to fade. We take his strikeouts under because he used to never be very good. But if you look at his numbers at home, he's never allowed 3 earned runs or more at home this season. He did once in a relief appearance, the very first appearance of the season. But as a starter, and he's going up against some good offenses there. San Diego, a couple of other really good offenses there. The Reds are hot and cold. This is a long West Coast trip. I still think they have to go to LA afterwards to face the Dodgers after this. So there could be a little road weariness as they stay on the West Coast. So we're going to play the trend and go under 2.5 earned runs for Ryan Nelson, who has not gone over this as a starter at home this season.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because he does typically pitch better there, but just has not stayed in the games long enough at all. J-Man34 has a question for you, Matt. Phil's team total over?
So it is Cavalli's second straight game against the Phillies. You would think they would have better at bats. The Phillies offense has been ridiculous lately. I almost think the better bet, J-Main, is let's take the Phillies team total over after Cavalli leaves potentially, because they might struggle early and you might get a lower number. And the Nats bullpen stinks and the Phillies are home. So I might wait until the game starts, maybe a couple of zeros posted early, and then take the team to wake up a little bit later in the game.
He also asked or said, Littell under 17.5 outs. Only one righty went over this in the last 10 against the D-backs.
So the one thing is, Littell's the type of guy that they'll leave out there because he's a veteran and because he's an innings eater. So I don't mind it. Certainly, I haven't looked at the numbers with regards to having that back up. But like the one thing I do know is Littell's the type of guy that goes 6 innings, even when he's not pitching great. He also is a pitch to contact kind of guy. So that's my worry here is if he's kind of not great, but not bad, he may stay in this game 6 innings anyway.